Moving into my very own farm has been the experience of a lifetime, just even in these very few short months that we've been here. It's got a sick pool. It's like NASCAR. A minty backyard.
That is one big pile of shit.
Enough space for all the activities. And best of all, a perfect space for me to build the frickin' studio of my dreams. It's just that summer is basically here, and that means this completely uninsulated space is gonna turn into a heckin' oven while we're trying to do renovations. Well, I mean, and insulate it obviously, but it's not insulated yet. So we need something to keep it cool. And realistically in the future, something to keep it hot in the winter. But it's not just the studio, because here in the house, while we do have heat, we don't have cool. And it's already like 25 degrees in the house, and it's only going to get hotter. But fortunately, I just got the quote to see how much it's gonna cost. Let's see.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not.
Yeah, I don't have $70,000. How is it set? It's not even that big of a house. And that's after they gave the 25% discount on the equipment for installing within 3 days. Yeah, that's not happening. I have a better plan. And I'm using the term better here pretty loosely because this could end up turning into a complete and utter disaster. Right there. Because not only are we going to be installing our own HVAC in the garage, in the studio, but also, realistically, my plan is to do it in the house too. Turning our $70,000 to, I don't know, $90,000 bill, depending on if we booked it within 3 business days, into like a $15,000 bill. And usually that means we're going to have a bad time. So, did I mention we're gonna try to do the garage and studio like in 24 hours? This is a stupid idea. It definitely is a stupid idea. Now, I found these units, whoa, from a company called
Senville.
This is 4 tons of air conditioning, baby. From what I can understand, Mitsubishi seems to be like but they don't sell direct to consumers. And this I was able to order online and was at my house in like 3 days. They even called and they were like, yo dog, can we deliver on Monday? And then the guy showed up 20 minutes later. I was like, Monday is 2 days from now. I don't know if this cart is gonna be beefy enough to move this thing. The pallet is like, please God, kill me. Oh, buddy. You're gonna have to stand on the back of the trailer, I think. You good?
Yeah, you're good.
Woo. Ooh. I think we're overloaded there, bud. Oh God, oh God. Oh God, the wheels. Look at the wheels. God damn, this thing's heavy.
If I get off now, it's gonna it's gonna go flying.
Fortunately for us, there's already a concrete pad. Yes! It's gonna go kind of somewhere like that. The tricky part with this garage is that there's just sides. Pool update. We're turning it into a half pipe. Now I just need to find somebody who doesn't want 20 grand to put a liner in. I did notice we need to buy some tools. First, because I think we need to cut the copper pipe and then like ream it out so it doesn't have a bunch of burrs. And second, to flare the pipes. You see right here? You gotta do that so that it actually hooks up to the unit outside properly and makes a good seal. From my understanding, this unit actually has refrigerant in it. So we just need to get the lines vacuumed out, and then once there's nothing left in there, you can open the valves and let the refrigerant in, because if you don't do that, you end up with a bunch of moisture inside your refrigerant loop, which will just destroy the expensive hardware you bought. I forgot about the fact that we have to deal with the electrical too, so that's gonna be a fun thing in a little bit. Oh! It came with little isolation feet, so it doesn't vibrate the shit out of everything. Good thing I bought some of those on Amazon already. What is in here? Smells a bit like death. Wires? Ah, this is the hookup kit for the indoor units. Once we run this copper line up to the second floor, and I guess one of them is gonna have to go up into kind of the ceiling space of the first floor, then we can just wrap it all up so it's a nice, tight kind of bundle. It's pretty complete, aside from the couple tools, but in order for your warranty to be valid, it must be completed by a licensed professional. I have my driver's license, I'm licensed. Hey, look at that. I don't even need a flaring tool. That's sick. Actually, if I want to cut these shorter, I will need the flaring tool. Yeah, okay, whatever. Fine. We'll also have to run this, which is just, what even is this? What gauge are you, you bastard? Oh, 14 by 4. Okay, yeah. And this will run from our outdoor unit into the indoor unit. In a normal world, you might hire an electrician. Oh, for the love of God, come on! It's a farm. We do our own electrical here on the farm. Open the fucking door! Fortunately for me, this panel already has a mouse nest in it. Has a 40 amp breaker in here that we can actually steal to use for our air conditioning. It's the right size, it's 2 poles, and that wire you just saw runs all the way to the other side of the garage to where I am right now for this welding plug that I'm not planning on using anytime soon. So we can just splice that wire a few more feet over to here where our heat pump is outside. And we can even use the drop ceiling. We just go like kind of whoop, bloop, 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 and then pull down the wall, bloop, 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 and then we're cash money, we're golden. Probably the only win we're gonna get in this entire episode. This knife's nice and rusty, so if you cut yourself, you have to get a tetanus shot. Whoa. Holy f, that thing is huge. How are we gonna get it in the ceiling? We do have a crane. That actually legitimately might be helpful later. This is our indoor unit. It's a 24,000 BTU ducted mini split. And I assure you, it is a mini split. I cannot stand the look of those big honkin' wall units, the kind of white, like, I don't even know what you call it. They look like a bit like a whale on your wall. And I refuse to install them in the house. So this is gonna be a trial run for me to learn how to do ducting and get this set up properly out here in the garage where the stakes are a little bit lower. But upstairs, oh my God, sorry. Oh yeah, remember this thing overhangs. We do have this lovely like knee wall cavity situation going on here where we can kind of just hide the unit kind of down here somewhere. But there's also like minimum distances you have to respect in terms of how close it is to the ground and the side and the top. And I don't exactly know if it will kind of be within that. Assuming it does fit, I do have a great plan for running the ducting. Bloop, 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 bloop. See, it's open behind there. So we've already got somewhere to hide it. Perfect. I mean, perfect might be a bit optimistic. You want to have your vents positioned like below or above windows and glass doors, places that have less insulation value so that you kind of wash them with the heat or the cold. But I think it'll be decent. We'll at least get it distributed nicely in here. Let's see if it fits. Oh, it did not like that. Leave your answer down in the comments. What is safer, a dull or sharp knife? Oh, that's gonna fit for sure, bud. You do get a bit of flexibility in terms of how you duct it and mount it and whatnot. In a lot of configurations, they'll actually just swap this return air to the bottom of the unit, and then it just sits like right like within the drywall, like no ducting on the return at all. Maybe like in a hotel room? Oh, buddy. Okay, what are we gonna do here? Is this even... Oops. I'm looking at the manual here, and it's like, put a service access because there's a ceiling and it's above the ceiling. Oh, you can have basically no gap at all, 0.8 of an inch. If you don't have an access, you want 90 inches of space. Let's just do it wrong. The main reason that we need to be able to access this thing is so you can take the electric motor out for service. So as long as we position it properly between two of the floor joists and not like right down the middle of one, you would in theory be able to access it from below. Problem solved. Got the probe and toner here hooked up, obviously with the breaker off. That's our wire up there. Fortunately, there isn't enough space up here. So what I'm gonna do is put our electrical box right here. That is our heckin' wire right there. Now we just have to pull it back. Oh, f***. Oh, f*** me. Oh, no. Oh my God. Oh my God, I got sick of the whole f***ing pry bar in there right now. Oh no, my drywall. Oh, f***, you idiot. Maybe this is why they tell you to hire a professional. Who made this wire so goddamn thick? What a mess. Now we gotta start thinking about how it's gonna come down and outside. And I'm thinking to put our little disconnect box kind of over here on the other side. It's not really to code. You're supposed to have like 30 inches of free space, I think. This drywall is like so heckin' strong. King Dick drywall. You see these ceiling tiles? That's not a drop ceiling tile, it's literally drywall. The electrical box is in there now. We've got proper connectors, we got proper bushings to protect the cable. Tech cable? It's not actually what I wanted. This is like armored, strong cable. It was actually cheaper than what I went in there for, and I haven't even finished the electrical, and it's the second day already. I thought this was gonna be an easy project. Oh God, it's already getting stuck, dude. Oh yeah. Oh, I've never been more excited to see wire before. Fast forward a little bit, and I've got almost all of our electrical done. The tech cable is here. It's down through the wall, which is fantastic. I got the box mounted up here reasonably well. It's time to punch it through that wall. Hammer time. Oh, I'm still in hammer mode. Yeah, right. Are you fingering my hole right now? Yay! Nice. Cock. This is called the disconnect, and it's very important that you install one of these near an air conditioning unit in case there's any problems with it or somebody is servicing it. They need to be able to see where the power is and see that it's shut off or shut off and then locked out. And in order to properly mount our cable to this box in a way that's actually safe, we use something called a connector. Looks a little something like this, and then you clamp it down really tight and it holds it so it can't get ripped out. Oh, there we go. Probably would want to use a 1-inch one on this. This is a 3/4 inch, but I think it's tight enough. Once it's in there and you've put the little lock nut on there and tightened it up against the box so it's really mounted, you're supposed to put one of these guys on, which is called a bushing. It's literally just a threaded plastic cap so that if the building shifts, the box shifts, the AC unit's vibrating, the wire doesn't slowly drag itself against the metal and then cut a hole in it and then short circuit itself. They never used to use these back in the day. It's just this all new fandangled safety stuff. We don't need that. We're gonna need to put an unconscionable amount of silicone in this hole. Oh! Should probably vacuum in here first, but... Oh. There's our house side, close to done. And then for the heat pump side, we need this, which is liquid tight conduit. It's a flexible type of situation. And I actually bought this as a pre-assembled unit. Hardware and electrical stores only sell the liquid tight conduit in 100-foot spools, and they're $150. And this was like 40 bucks already assembled. There is our electrical hookups that we need. And then over here is all of the electrical output to our 2 units inside. That's not very pleasant. Huh? Oh my god. F are you supposed to cut this with? Holy shit. Try this PVC cutter. This is so cursed. Jesus. And there you go. A little on and off switch. That only took all day. And we're technically only done one side. Didn't even strap it down yet, so. Now we gotta get the wire over there and splice it in, and then we will have frickin' power, baby! Oh my god, this is so thick. I've never seen one this thick before. But I bet you have. Don't lie. I know you've got a big old, girthy old charging brick sitting there. Old faithful, maybe like this or this. And today's sponsor, Ugreen, knows that too, which is exactly why they've released their brand new Nexode Air Charger. This tiny little brick can do 65 watts of charging while being dang near a quarter the size of your MacBook brick. Sheesh! In just 30 minutes, it'll charge a MacBook Air to over 50% or an iPhone 17 Pro Max to nearly 70%. It's compatible with every Apple device and USB PD gadget you've got. Comes in 4 cute colors. Oh, they came with pretty colored cables too. I mean, just look at that. It's beautiful. And works when you travel too, because there's nothing worse than your phone dying on the plane. But don't fret, because Ugreen is also launching their new MagFlow Air, a 10,000 milliamp hour magnetic charger that can juice up an iPhone nearly 2 times while being this small. So what are you waiting for? Ugreen will keep you charged without the bulk anywhere you go. And for a limited time, you can use the link in the description to get 25% off. It's crazy. Oh, durable too. And before we can splice it in, we gotta strap it down so that it's not just hanging out in the ceiling. That's no good. Oh, what the f? And then how do I get this in this tiny ass hole? Oh, get in the hole, please. I'm operating at peak level right now. It's just going really good.
Yeah, man. The amount of stuff falling down.
Shut up. Look, I know, I wish somebody would scratch my chin too. We're ready to splice our cables, and now is a great time to talk about how exactly we're gonna do that, because with big 8-gauge wires like these, you don't really wanna just use a wire nut or a moret on there. I mean, you probably can get ones that big, But what we're gonna do instead is use something that I trust a little bit more, and that is a butt connector. Yep, just like that. Crimp them down with some big crimpers, and then you've got like a solid, almost like friction weld of the copper butt connector to the copper wire, and it's never gonna come out. We'll see if I can rip it off of there. I would probably think that's sufficient. I can't believe it didn't come out at all. Last but not least, to keep everything insulated and our big wires from shorting out, a little bit of heat shrink. It's got adhesive on the inside, so when you melt it down, the adhesive goes out and you have like an actually waterproof connection, which is huge. And there we go, it's connected. Pretty nice, huh? We still gotta wire the indoor units and run our big AC lines and hang the units inside. And I made a lot of progress in figuring out where I want to put this unit, which is great. Got lots of dimensions laid out, but then I realized something actually horrible. That's where the AC goes. And you know what that means? We need to leave a gap between the AC and that box so that you can access it. My master plan of like just screwing the ducting to the wall, can't do that anymore. It's one of those things where like, okay, whatever, it's not the end of the world. That wire was down here. It would have taken an extra 2 minutes to pull the tech cable down to there where it was originally. Why did I cut it?
That's a stud.
I've got a decent idea for how we can deal with this, basically like relocating it here. There's just enough slack to do that. But before we do that, we need to make sure we know where the duct is gonna go. But we're not actually installing the duct today, we're just figuring it out, because before we do any ducting, we still need to insulate the roof upstairs, because if we put duct in, it's just gonna block the access and just make it into kind of a nightmare. I'm gonna try to like cut a bit of a panel. People in the comments are gonna be like, and you chose to do all of this instead of just having a ductless mini split on the wall? The answer is yes. This is not even gonna look better. Hello? We'll make that bigger later. Now that we figured out where it's gonna go, it's time to start talking about how it's gonna go there, and specifically how we're gonna mount it to the ceiling. And I've come up with this solution. It's a piece of threaded rod exactly like they would use, except instead of putting it through like a piece of steel strut, we're gonna use a 2x6 bolted to the bottom of the ceiling joist. I cut one of these extra feet from the outdoor handler unit into 4 pieces to be like a rubber isolating washer, and then I'm using 2 nuts up here, because if you just use one, over time the vibrations of the air handler could slowly loosen that nut, and then your air handler just falls out of the ceiling. Probably put some Loctite on those nuts too, just because, yeah. How am I gonna get this in the ceiling though? Perfecto. So why don't we put in your side first, because your side's sketchier? Sweet! The other one's gonna be so much easier. HVAC professional. Woo! Now we can finish off the power wiring inside the unit, because previously I didn't have the correct terminals. This thing asks for U-lugs, but nobody seems to sell those locally in 8 wire gauge. So I ended up getting these ring terminals, and they're so close to fitting. Stripped them, heat shrinked them, and now it's time to crimp them with this proper crimping tool. This is from a company called iCrimp. I am gonna need like a proper set of hydraulic crimpers when we do the DIY battery video, which is definitely coming, but this will do for now. It's not really supposed to leave like a tab like that. Heat shrink hides all sins. Holy shit, we got power, baby! See that? We see lights. 39 volts, baby! Oh, it feels like we're getting close. We've got both of the indoor units installed, or I mean at least hung up. That's progress, right? We don't have any ducting, and we also don't have any of this. It's just a quarter of the copper pipe that we need to run for this whole system to work. And while you can install those outside and then just kind of beautify them with line set cover, I think it looks like shit. What we're gonna do instead is make our lives way more difficult and put it in the wall. There's some pretty major concerns we need to address, with the main one being condensation. You see, this one has some nice fancy insulation on here, but the lines I actually got from Senville have this really cheap, like extruded foam insulation that's not even the right size. You see that gap there? That's prime territory for air to hang out. And once these lines get really cold and it's nice and hot outside, because we're air conditioning, for water to condense on the tubes. Which if you've then got the line set inside your wall, it's just a recipe for a really bad, moldy, stinky, yucky time. So I picked up this Armacell Armaflex because that's what all the HVAC armchair nerds said on Reddit was the best option. And I even bought the fancy Armacell adhesive, for putting the pieces together, cause they only seem to sell it in 6-foot lengths here. So it's like joined. And to make my life easier, I have decided to just cut the drywall out. Wait, I need to figure out what height it's supposed to be at. One sec. Am I stupid? This isn't gonna work. There's a wall in the way. 15 inches. That's where I can punch it through, and the lines are right here. So it's gonna have to do like an uppity thing. And we're just gonna cut it right at the bottom. There's gonna be studs at the bottom too, so we gotta go even higher. You looking at my ass again, Andrew? That's a rippy moment. You thought you were raised in the drywall, but I was born into it. Molded by it! I heard you've been talking shit, son. Time for line sets. Like, I appreciate the work you're gonna do. Being in the walls. It's a job, but you do it admirably, I hope. This house. We gotta put the coils in the wall, and I almost destroyed one yesterday. It bent. I did like mostly undestroy this one, I think a little bit, but we gotta be very careful around that now. Beep, beep. Get out of the hole, please. Oh, thanks. Oh, how nice of you to come to my rescue, good sir. Can you try to unkink that a little bit?
This part here.
No, the bend in it. What do you mean that part? Right there.
This
one. I'm just gonna leave the extra up here in case for whatever reason this unit needs to move at some point. But I just need to make sure that it's strapped kind of somehow. Oh. Huh? The fact that there's still nitrogen in there means that it's not leaking. Let's actually get the second line up here. I think based on this experience, I might pay somebody to do the house. HVAC guys, you tell me. Pretty good flare, I think. To say that we've been doing some thinking about how this is all gonna work up here would be a bit of an understatement. At this point, you're probably familiar with the indoor unit, but maybe not familiar with how it operates. It's basically a big fan with a coil that heats and cools depending on if we wanna heat or cool the room. It's just that because this thing is so large, it needs to move a load of air. And while we could get around it by just cutting open the wall here and just giving it a direct feed in, then it turns into basically a vacuum cleaner, sucking up all the crap on the floor, which we really don't want. It's gonna clog up our filters, clog up our coil. It's just not a good time. We were talking about like modifying custom vents on it, and it was just like my aneurysm level was exploding. So instead, what we're gonna do is use the wall space as a duct. That way it's pulling air kind of from the center of the space, far away from the floor where all the dust is, and we can even get like a big register that you put a filter in, so it's super easy to replace. We just have to make the entire wall built out of 2x6 instead of 2x4, and that gives us enough space to flow that much air without it really making much noise. Let's just stick our hoses down the hole.
Yeah, you're good there, I think.
Okay, so this one, Andrew, remember the end is flexy.
Okay.
So we gotta be a little bit more gentle with this one. Start gently bending.
Okay, gently. Okay, you want more?
Okay, yeah, you can feed a little down. Okay, stop, that's good. Just trying to bend these pipes kind of into submission where they're supposed to go. But it actually looks like they're all gonna fit through, which is great. The order that we put all this through is really not ideal. Slow and steady. A little bit more. Stop. Okay, let me go look outside 1 sec. Pretty clean, right? I'm gonna 3D print something at some point to cover this up. I say some point because like, well, I think you get it at this point. We're done on this side. Well, aside from the wiring. Now that we've got our lines outside, it's time to talk about getting them connected to our outdoor unit. We're gonna be using this stuff, Nylog Blue. It's made up of pretty much the same stuff that's inside this unit for compressor oil that keeps everything lubricated internally. But basically what you have to do with this to make sure that you're getting like a solid connection, you just goop it and then you do the same on the other side. It's actually okay if you get it in the hole. You're also supposed to put some on the threads so that you get a consistent, nice torque reading while you're torquing them, because you do want to torque these fittings down. There's a specific set of torque in the installation manual, and you want to follow that. 67. And then, so you know that you torqued it, I'm just gonna draw a little line on there. Boom, now I know it's torqued. In our case, rinse and repeat 3 more times. We'll do some wiring, and then we can turn it on. No, then we gotta pull vacuum, and then we can turn it on. And here's how we're gonna wire it. Starting by buying these waterproof connectors that I forgot to get before. These are little 1/2-inch waterproof things. They grab onto this outdoor rated communication power cables for the indoor units. And it's already been pre-terminated with these cute little like U-spade connector things. So you just loosen up the screw and then they just stick underneath there. And you do want to make sure that whatever way you put the colors on this side, 1, 2, and 3, red, black, and white, is the same as what you do on the inside. And of course, don't forget your ground screw. As I cut off this end to get the insulation on, here is how you re-flare it with this cute little flaring tool I found on Amazon. This one has a clutch in the handle. Not all of them do, but that means it stops itself when it's at the appropriate distance. What the f is this? Back it off. Is that a croquet hammer? You have a beautiful flared end. I shouldn't have done that so aggressively. Before you flare the pipe, put the collar nut on. Damn it! Oh, there we go. You know what that means? Vacuum! I actually already had one of these, but I couldn't find it at the shop, so I had to buy another one.
Open both service valves on the high pressure and low pressure hoses.
That thing sounds like death. Run the vacuum pump for at least 15 minutes or until the compound meter reads minus 76 centimeters of mercury. This is gonna take 15 minutes with this little guy? I left the thing entirely overnight, and I can see that we're still at minus 30 inches of mercury, exactly where we want to be. And now that we know there's no leaks, we can move on to actually making sure there's no air anywhere in the system before we release the refrigerant. And to make sure that there's no air in this type of unit, you have to actually open the valves for the zones you're using. Since we're using zone A and zone B, 2 zones, we have to open 4 valves. That way we get all of the air out of the manifold that's behind here, which connects into this guy up here, and the manifold that's behind here, which connects into this guy up here. Only then can we follow the rest of the instructions. And just to be clear, you don't have to open the valves you're not using. Do not open those ones. Bad time. And then we wait again. The vacuum pump has been running over a half hour. We'll close our gauge, shut it off. There's a specific way you're supposed to open this. This unit came pre-filled with refrigerant according to the amount that we needed. You can also add refrigerant. There's like a whole section of the manual that tells you how much refrigerant you need to add. But since we're doing everything bog standard, pre-made, ready to go, we don't have to do anything in that regard. We just had to pull the vacuum. I'll finish up some wiring upstairs and then we get to turn this thing on. Breaker on. Is it on? I think it's displaying an error code. It says PC01, but it doesn't say what the error codes are. It just says PCXX. What? It's pretty quiet.
Oh yeah.
I can hear the slight rattle of like it just chilling on the mounts. Don't worry, this is going to get insulated before we actually run this thing, I promise. Can't tell if it's blowing cold air or not. We'll give it a few more minutes. If it doesn't turn on, then we panic and scream and throw it. It's on! It's making a bit of a weird noise, but I think that just is because it's only just started up for the first time. Oh yeah! Andrew, come stick your hand up in this hole. It already feels cold in this bay.
Yeah. This is good.
Let's go try the upstairs one. Ooh, do I feel cool now? I think I do. Yes! Success, baby! Weeks in the making, we now have heating and cooling in our frickin' studio and the garage, which is crazy. We still have so much to do in here. We gotta figure out electrical, Ethernet runs. We gotta obviously insulate the place so then we can install some ducting and of course, drainage. We can't run these units at all because there's nowhere for the condensation that happens on the coils to go. You absolutely need that if you're gonna run these for anything more than 30 seconds. And you also probably wanna make sure that the drain works. But that's for the next video. So get subscribed so you don't miss it. Hit the like button. Let me know down in the comments if you think our DIY HVAC install was half decent. I think it was pretty good. I think it's better than like probably half of the contractor installs I've seen. So, you know,